Okay. Justin, James Ellsworth is the definition of what I like to call a two-weeker. You know, you date somebody for 2 weeks, you get over them. You have the same food for 2 weeks, you get over them. I'm over James Ellsworth, a guy that brought very interesting and entertaining storylines for 2 weeks. That's it. I don't care to see him on my TV anymore, and I'll tell you why. You're building an entire World Championship storyline around a guy who does not even deserve to be on the main roster, who is not interesting anymore. Again, he's that two-weeker, Justin. He is a guy that he has this draw to him because he looks weird. He doesn't have a chin. Yeah, he has a little weird goatee. You should get that back. I liked your goatee better than the chin strap here, but that's a different story for another day. But come on, you really think this guy should be in the main storyline of SmackDown Live when they have so many other talented guys that could step up and do a very similar role?
This is the only time. This is one of the few times in the calendar year it's okay, and I'll tell you why. Remember, we're in the brand extension now, so they had the SmackDown only pay-per-view back in early October. Survivor Series is a very gimmicky. It is a gimmick pay-per-view, and then you don't have another SmackDown only until early December for TLC. So you have this long span of TV that you need to fill. So this is the right time to do something different and unique. Yes, if the entire roster, or if there was a handful of James Ellsworth, that would be a problem. But one James Ellsworth is good, and there's a certain value to him. And you say that you're over it, and people. I mean, he's getting the biggest pop of the night because he can do such ridiculous things from a facial expression, which, by the way, his facial expressions are better than 9/10 of the rest of the roster. So they could actually.
Yeah, but his vocals in the ring aren't.
But that's the
in the
idea.
Beginning, he said the same thing 5 times, the same way. He said the same thing 5 different times, all the same exact way. I'm not interested in hearing him talk.
He's not supposed to be magic on the mic. He's supposed to be awkward and out of place. He's in over his head. That's the idea. And all of that cowardness and nervousness. Then when he does one small thing, when he does one super kick, when he does one distraction, the place explodes. You know this. It does not matter if you do 55 moves in a match. It matters about getting a reaction. And if you can get a reaction over doing the smallest things, James Ellsworth, you're winning. I love it.
James Ellsworth was winning again for 2 weeks. I don't want to see him anymore. You had Dean Ambrose win thanks to James Ellsworth. That's it. There needs to be one more week of him, and then that's it. I don't want to see him in November and December though, because what you're going to do is people are going to start hating him, and then he's going to go away, and then you're going to say, well, instead of utilizing him for a big pop 3 or maybe 4 weeks, you can maybe milk out an extra week of him. You can see WWE, Justin, using him for 6, 8, 10 weeks heading into 2017. You can see him getting a Royal Rumble spot, can't you?
Oh, he's definitely getting a Royal Rumble spot. He's going to be one of the final 6.
See, that's the worst.
It's gonna be a comedy spot. It's gonna be the same thing as when we were in Boston and we watched Santino come out from under the ring, and we thought that he was gonna stop Del Rio from winning. Look, James Ellsworth. And that if you're right, if James Ellsworth, if people do start to sour on him, you turn him heel and you let him be the goofy mascot that follows AJ Styles around, who AJ Styles verbally abuses, just like Jericho and Ralphus.
That's a terrible. So you're gonna. That worked in the 90s because that was a completely different era of interesting TV, even though you and I both know some of the writing was absolutely garbage. You can't compare the 2 years. You can't compare Ellsworth and AJ Styles with Jericho in the WCW. It's a completely different bird. I just don't want to see too much of Ellsworth. I'm okay with seeing him here and there, but we're getting more Ellsworth segments than we are with the World Champion, than with Dean Ambrose, than with the Tag Team Champions. The only guy getting more mic time right now, justifiably so, is The Miz, because he should be getting more mic work than everybody. Ellsworth's time is up, Justin. I don't want to know what Ellsworth has to do next, aside from get off of my SmackDown Live and move on to guys who actually are under contract, who are interesting to watch more than 2 or 3 weeks, and who actually have a future in WWE. He doesn't have a future in WWE aside from a spot here and there. It's bothersome.
I'm pulling a page out of CM Punk's book. Tap the watch, take a look, cup the hands. It's Ellsworth time. You better learn to love it.
Why don't you take another page out of Punk's book and just get to stepping, huh? You couldn't get me to leave, so you get the stepping, guy.
Well, he has no love for James Ellsworth, but he is on Twitter. You can
not anymore.
At Josh Eisenberg 4. You can agree or disagree with him on there. Great weekend at CSR, Josh. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week, and I'm predicting another big James Ellsworth week. I'll be following along at SmackDown while everybody else is following along with Trump and Hillary. We'll see you next week.